by going to DQ Labs and attending the course there, she found a lot of clarity in what she wants. And now she's very sure that she wants to take it up as a career. And we are also quite sure that yes, she has a passion and she can explore it as a career. One more thing that we enjoyed was that she was given the free hand to explore her creativity. She was given the free hand to do whatever she wanted, however she wanted. Work with music, for example. She loves music, so working with the music on was one of the things that gave her that what should I say the ability to express herself much better, and the excitement with which she used to get ready for the class and come back from the class, and the excitement with which she used to share all of that with us has given us the guarantee that yes, this is something that she can do. Yeah. Thanks DQ Labs for that.
मेरी बेटी इंजीनियर नहीं बनेगी, मेरी बेटी डिज़ाइनर बनेगी.
Hello, I am Laya and I attended Deep 23 in Indiranagar in the summer.
Yeah, we are Laya's parents and we are extremely happy that we put her into this course. In fact, we were discussing that she's good at designing, she's quite creative, and what do we do with her? And to be very honest, incidentally, that day's newspaper, the DQ Labs pamphlet landed in my hand. And he's like, hey, we are putting her here. That's it. That's how we decided. And absolutely no regrets. After we put her here, we realized what she's learning and the kind of design she was coming up with. We were like astonished that, something like this she had in her and somebody's actually provoking it. And this 30 design concept was amazing, that the number of designs that she's just, I was like, where is it even coming from? It was that beautiful. And we are very happy on the recreation of her chair that she designed from a coconut shell. I think it was mind blowing. Thank you so much. And yeah, we deeply think we should put her into the course.
We were not very sure what kind of career option she has. Now we have both of us being from non-creative fields. He's like an engineer, I'm a chartered accountant. So for us, we don't know much about this field. Now we have a much better idea. She has a much better idea of what she wants to do. So thank you so much. We are very happy we went through this course.
Thank you so much.
This is monochromatic light. It looks like there is no colors. But have a look at this. This is what design is about.
Design is everywhere. Hey guys.
Hi everybody. It's a basic building block for our imagination.
What we consider truth depends on how you look at it.
There is no obvious route from beginning to end. And there's no guarantee of getting to the end either.
It can be really scary because there's lots of people that need to know what your vision is. The ideas are endless.
You have to question yourself in order to create. I love showing this is possible.
To do something better than what came before.
We can play together. We can live together.
There's nobody in the room. There's also no art.
If we are to survive on the planet, we must design where we're going from here.
I wanted to do fashion design, but I didn't know how to take it forward. I played around with a few of my own designs. Then one of my friends recommended that I join this course. So I missed the fashion design session. I was 3-4 days late, but I enjoyed the rest of the sessions like photography, stop motion, and jewelry design. So all over, I realized that I want to do set designing, fashion designing, and jewelry design. That's where I get to explore more of my creativity. And right now, I think I'm still an artist, so I have to become a designer. So, yeah.
Yeah. One good thing that we as parents enjoyed in this program is those 20 days, kids did not have an opportunity to sit and lie around before a TV or get hooked onto the mobile phones. And this definitely had a lot of brainstorming that they underwent. And the best part is every day after she comes back from the course, There would be a lot of discussions on what happened at the course, how did she participate, what things did it, and asking questions to us. Did you know this? Did you know that? So happy, and thank you DQ Labs for engaging the kids wonderfully in these 20 days.
So we were, as parents, we are a little skeptical about how their choices are going to pan.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Morning. So super to have all of you all here for this session. So fantastic to have all of you all here for this session. This is the inaugural session of the Design Exploration Program, which all of you all have registered for. There'll be so this is the agenda for today. So the session is from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of a welcome note, and then there's going to be a session called Creativity in Me. That's by Shaun. Then Umesh is going to, now in this Creativity in Me session, there's going to be small exercises, creative exercises that you're going to enjoy. A little bit about the DEP, or rather a lot about the DEP. The next steps after the DEP program, and the final closing notes. That's what's going to happen today. Yeah. Right. We can go to the next slide. All right. So who's this? Sam Altman, right? Everybody knows who Sam Altman is here? Yeah. Okay. Next step. Next slide. So he's the CEO of OpenAI. All right. And one of the things that he says is very interesting. He says, just like the computer did not kill the game of chess, artificial intelligence won't replace human care for each other. And this is an interesting statement, right? Because a very prominent personality is talking about who's prominent in artificial intelligence, is talking about what intelligence cannot do, artificial intelligence cannot do. Right? And that's the aspect of human care. And human care talks about empathy, right? What is human care? It is empathy. It's the feeling that we have for each other, the feeling that differentiates us from the animal world, right? So whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, an engineer, or an architect, you need empathy, right? You need to empathize with your groups. The newer careers, what we see a lot more people doing, blogging, comedians, influencers, right? Or entrepreneurs, all of these, all of them also require empathy. And really, Danish Seth, right? The comedian, influencer, what does he do? He's got that ability to connect with each one of us. That's empathy, right? Next. Artists, sports persons, business persons, all of these people require empathy. We'll go to the next slide, right? Now, empathy is not something new. It's not something that we've said is new. It is the core of design thinking. Absolutely the core of design thinking. This is where it starts from. And this is the model developed by the Stanford D School, right? Of course, design thinking was there in various definitions earlier. But this is how they say we need to start off. We need to really talk to people, empathize, and then start off. Once we empathize, then we move on to the next steps, which is even defining the problem, right? So empathy comes before even defining the problem. Then we get into ideation and prototyping and testing. So don't worry about the rest. But the idea here is that empathy forms a very, very critical aspect of design thinking. And that's where we are starting off with, right? This is absolutely the core. Now we go to the next aspect of where can design thinking be applied, right? So we look at products, nicely designed chairs or tables or interiors, XYZ, right? but can it solve real problems? Can we use design thinking to improve the lives of people around us? And this is exactly what Madhu Priyanka has done. Madhu Priyanka was one of our students, a former students, who ended up being a, a, a furniture designer, right? She studied at NID and she did furniture design. And her thesis was how furniture design companies are forcing us to sit the way we're doing. That was a thesis. It was completely against the furniture industry. Because she said that we, in fact, have different ways to sit. Like we saw the artisans, right? And she has dedicated her professional career to creating an impact, making the lives of various people better, artisans better. So design is not for everyone. Design is for a few special people. A few special people who have the personality for it. Not everyone can do design. You need to have the personality for it. But is the personality sufficient? It is personality clubbed with passion. Unless the passion in each designer comes out, you cannot get the most out of the designer, all right? And finally, it's not that we end up only with passion. We are also designers. We are also looking for opportunities. The opportunities to come out and get that door opened for you. If there is no door, find a door. That's where we are looking at, okay? So it comes down to the question, who are we? Why DQ Labs? Why are you all sitting here? Why have you all chosen this program to be with us, right? A little background about us. We are thought provokers.
Hello, I am Laya and
You can pause that. They've already seen this.
I am Laya and I attended Deep 23 in Indira in the summer.
Yeah. So you all have watched this video earlier. And she talks about, and they talk about us as thought provokers, right? They said, so the father was saying, at least I was shocked to see how somebody was provoking her to think. Where is it coming from my daughter? And the mother says, now she has a much better idea of what she wants to do, right? That is the core of this program. That is the core of this design exploration program. Go on. We are design evangelists. We not only want design thinking to be within the community, but go beyond the community. We organize something called a design hackathon every year, and we empower everybody to become designers and solve problems using design, using three things: using empathy, design thinking, and ChatGPT or AI, right? We do it in multiple languages as well, English and Tamil, right? Go on. We are teacher trainers. We train teachers to get into design thinking and help them to teach better. So this was a workshop we did with Bangalore Sahodaya, which is the teachers, the association of CBSE schools. So we had done it for their teachers. Next. We are design researchers. So this is Umesh. A couple of months ago, he was presenting his research at IIT Delhi at a conference called Futuring Design Education. This was a couple of months ago. And they had the biggest thought leaders of design at that conference. Prior to that, there was a conference in Singapore called the Singapore Learning, Design and Technology Conference, where we had gone and presented our research out there. Next. We are innovators. How many, let's say, institutions like ours have a patent to our name? A patent for education, in effective education. How many of those? So this is Umesh's patent, and it's for a change done to an MCQ question, right? This is a regular MCQ, but what we have done is we've made a minor change, and the impact of it is tremendous for every learner, right? We've introduced social learning. Creativity is all about learning from each other, and all of you all will experience the social learning aspect. Next. We've been recognized by CII. We've been recognized by NASCOM for the work that we've done, right? These are very important awards, design awards. Next. We are design mentors. Our students have reached the top schools in India and have done really well. Next. We are industry collaborators. We get the industry and academia together. So Pradyumna Vyas, former director of National Institute of Design, current president of the World Design Organization, Sonia Manchanda, Lubna Saifi, faculty at NID, Madhya Pradesh, Professor Atul Kedia. So all of these people come together to help us with our collaboration. We've done this with the Coimbatore Police Department. All right, the design hackathon. So these are all the collaborations that we've had, some of the collaborations. And we are also industry professionals. So Shaun and Umesh, architect and industrial designer from IIT Delhi. Shaun is an engineer and industrial designer from IIT Delhi. They've worked in the top design studios globally, right? Jaguar Land Rover. Next. But most of all, we are passionate about what we do, right? So that's a little bit about who we are. Next slide. And we really, really thank you for joining this program. We do believe that it's a very, very high value program, and it's very personalized to each one of our kids, and looking forward to you all having a wonderful time. All right? Over to Shaun.
Yeah. Thanks, Dion, for the lovely introduction. And so nice to see so many parents and students here on a Sunday morning. That's really amazing to see y'all in large numbers. And this is a very unique program. In fact, this program was made because a lot of students, a lot of parents in the past have kept asking us, even before they join serious kind of training for, say, an NID program or any design program, this is like one step prior. Like, what is design? What is the range? Because parents themselves don't have any knowledge in this area, because this area is different. This area is a lot larger than you think, a lot more, has a lot more opportunity than you can think, and it's in so many spaces, so many big companies hire designers, and that's the kind of knowledge that we want to share with you all. Now, here's the important part. Ironically, more than information for the student, this is actually information for the parents, okay? It's because the parents create that supportive environment, right? And if the parent themselves it's only through knowledge, you yourself will get confidence. Now, you will understand what I'm trying to say, because generally, when you get scared, when you get you're not sure, it's basically coming from lack of knowledge or awareness. So in fact, this today is a very important session, especially what we're going to, some of the points we're going to tell you all is ironically more for the parents than for the students, okay? So let's start off with some basic GK. Let's see your general knowledge. And let's take it from there. So, what is the favorite food of a bear? Can you tell? Yeah. Salmon, okay. Honey. What else? What is the easy GK question? What do bears like to eat? Berries, okay. What else? Anything else? What bears like to eat? Fish, yeah, of course. But I think what bears like to eat is biryani. You think so? Biryani, berries? Yeah? No? Okay. Fine. What is this? Stegosaurus. Very good. A stegosaurus. Yeah. What if you combine a stegosaurus and a brick of Lego? What do you get? A Legosaurus. Yeah. That's what you get, a Legosaurus. Okay? Make sense? Yeah? Okay. What do you see here? Sky with clouds? A dog? Yeah? How many of you all have played this game where you see like a rabbit or a dragon or ice cream or something floating around, right? So you can actually see it, right? Okay. But it's not really a dog, it's a cloud. But why are so many people saying it's a dog, right? Now, in fact, I was on a picnic with my son, and he was 5 years old when he showed me the spoon and said, "What do you see in the spoon?" And I, chocos, yeah. He said he saw a fried egg. Okay, yeah. And so this is actually the conversation. This is actually his bowl. Okay. So, yeah, that's what you see, a fried egg. Now, there's a reason why I'm telling you all this, okay? There is actually a scientific term for this, okay? It's called apophenia. Now, what does apophenia mean? Apophenia is connecting two unrelated things to make some sense out of it, right? So the point I'm trying to make here is there are basically two kinds of thinking that we have, okay? One is a very logical thinking, right? Say 2 plus 2 is 4, right? Or subjective thinking, bears like biryani. It doesn't really make sense, but you know, it's subjective thinking. It's just connecting absolutely unrelated things. Now, apophenia works in many ways. It even works with language, with words, with data, right? And in fact, this is how you actually get an idea. Like how, like say, Archimedes or whatever, when he gets out of the tub, or he sits in the tub and he realizes, oh, this is how things connect, because you're connecting completely unrelated things and you come out with something innovative, okay? Apophenia has different types to it. Visual apophenia, where you see something visually, which is called pareidolia. So what you've seen here is basically examples of pareidolia, some of them. Or, like I said, connecting data or words or whatever it is. So why is this important? Is for you to understand, especially in children, right? They will look at a small piece of cauliflower or broccoli and say, oh, this looks like a tree. Okay, or something, and they say, oh, this looks like A, or this looks like L, or something like that. So this is what is working in their minds on a scientific level, on a psychological level. Okay, so as parents, as teachers, we need to identify this style of thinking. Now, when you have this thinking, along with the logical thinking, now you need both, right? And then you complete the loop. You get an innovative mind. So they both need to be nurtured and trained. You can actually train and nurture both sides. So these are typical examples for all this. So just to show you an example, this is a student's work, right? To show an example of how it's used, you can see a girl swinging on a lamppost, correct? So the student actually took this lamppost from the net, and the rest of it is her imagination, which she drew on a Wacom tablet. It's a digital drawing. So now when you think of it, pareidolia, right? When you can see a lamppost, it looks like something you can swing on, and that's how the imagination comes in. Okay. Okay. Among the students, how many of you all do this all the time? Draw all the time. Draw on in your class during math class and science class, and on your notebook and textbooks. So you're drawing all the time, yeah? Okay, good. How many among the parents, how many do this? Yeah, yeah. Some of you all do it, or at least you all have been doing it in the past, right? In fact, you will be doing it subconsciously. You're in a meeting, right? And before the meeting is over, you realize that electricity bill or whatever is full of scribbles, or whatever paper is in front of you, right? So these are just natural things that come out in some of us, right? And whatever it is in our mind, we just keep subconsciously keep putting them down all the time. And in fact, some teachers, some parents get angry, right? I mean, what is this you're drawing on your physics book or math book or some? In fact, I had a parent who actually complained about this and kept asking her daughter to keep erasing it. I said, don't erase it, preserve it, because it is from these small things is actually and when you show me, when I ask for students' work, I can see a lot more from a 1-minute sketch done on a tissue paper or any piece of paper rather than a 1-month oil painting, because that actually tells me more about the student, the little scribbles and the doodles. So this is very typical of the students that come here that you see kind of scribbling all over. The photographs that you see here is actually what I've taken from the students. I go around and I take students from pictures from their from their books or whatever. So here's a question for all of you all, including the parents. How many of you all would say that I am creative? Can you put your hands up? I am creative, right? So some of you all are not putting your hands up, okay? So anybody would say I am not creative? Okay, for sure, okay. When is the first time you show your creativity? The first time, or one of the first few times you show your creativity. It's when you tell a lie, right? So when you're small, you tell a lie, right? I mean, have you finished eating? Yeah, I finished eating, right? Or whatever, So even to tell a lie, you need to be creative, because you need to make it believable to somebody else, right? So that's creativity. So point is, everyone is creative. Everyone. I mean, that makes us human. Even animals also, to a large extent, to an extent, are creative, because my dog also would put his bowl upside down and sleep on it. That's creativity, right? So creativity is in everything. Even if you're a chartered accountant or a dentist or a surgeon, you have to, or even if when you cook, you have to be creative, because what if I don't have these ingredients? I need to substitute it with something else that I have, right? So creativity is everywhere. So it's a little bit of a misconception that, only somebody who draws is creative. No, we're all creative. You may not even have drawn in your life, but you are creative. We are all creative in different ways, okay? So there are different measures of creativity and the way it comes out within us. So creativity can come out in the form of drawing, dance, performing arts, song, music, singing, story writing. See, even to write a story, right, you need to be creative, right? Because you are creating the environment, the characters, the life, the rules, the relationships. It's all coming from imaginary, right? So that's a lot of creativity there. So it comes in so many ways. One of the strong points, that helps creativity and innovation is your sense of observation, okay? So what is it that you can see the little small details that others cannot see, right? For example, something, if you look at your phone, something as simple as swipe, right? Swipe or zoom in and zoom out, which is so obvious today. But the person who thought about it and did it first is a really, it's a big thing, right? I mean, the person, anyone who does something for the first time or is able to observe, okay, why is the apple falling down? Why is it not falling up, right? I mean, it's so common, it happens all the time, but you're really observing that small little detail that everyone else has missed out. Okay, it's so obvious in front of you. So observation is a very important part of the whole process of creativity, innovation, thinking, okay? So let's have a small exercise here. So this is a pencil, okay? So how many, can you tell me different ways of using, or rather you have used this pencil other than for sketching or writing? Can you tell me any different ways? Yeah. Sorry? Drumming. Okay, yes, very good. Tying your hair, yes. Anybody else? Oh yes, correct. Opening a bag of chips, yes, very good. You puncture the, that's someone is, I mean, nobody has told me that so far. That's really good, yeah, sorry. Wickets to play cricket in class. Back of the ear, okay. Tie rubber bands to keep them together. That is, in fact, one of the most useful uses for a pencil, to put in a 2-pin plug in a 3-pin plug hole. In fact, some hotels have pencils there ready. I've actually seen it, right? So think about it, just think about it. This is basically a writing tool. It's meant for writing. But we actually use it in so many ways other than actually writing or drawing, subconsciously, right? The thing is, have we observed that? Going back to our generation, the children wouldn't, of course, remember this. You remember the old audio tapes, audio cassettes? That was a very common thing for us. Your table fan, you just start the fan, it doesn't start, you just do that, all these kind of things. Even if you're pointing out to something, you're technically using it as a pointer, right? So in simple words, observation on the simplest of detail as to what do we use different things for. Like, so I said, the mind can also be trained, which they do in design school, right? On higher level. Is first you got to break them down into different areas, and you can train the mind to observe, to think differently. And it doesn't just work for you, it works how you observe others as well. You know, and that's important. Why? Because let's say part of design is we do a lot of surveys. We talk to a lot of people across different cities. Like there's a tier 1 city, tier 2 city, tier 3 city. You'll be amazed how people think different, right? Across different age groups, teenagers, adults. So when you're talking to people, you also should be able to observe what are they saying, what are they doing, why are they saying? Because it's important for your research and your study when you become a designer. You're coming out with a new product or a new line of products, or you're trying to improvise on an area of of some products, right? Now, this is an important point, okay? So all this creativity, all this the art that students do, all this, is it just a hobby, or am I really required in today's industry? I mean, what's the relationship, right? How can all this creativity, how can all this interest be harnessed by the industry? Now, obviously, the industry has to be successful, has to grow, has to sell its product, right? And how is it that we contribute in a special way to make that happen, right? So that's the connection that we need to understand. Okay, have a look at this video. I hope all of y'all can see the video in the corner there. Yeah. Okay, what you saw is typically car development, transportation design, okay, how um, um, cars are typically developed in the industry. So you can see 4 stages here. The first stage is a sketch, right? So the actual car is sketched out by a designer, by a person, right? Then comes the next stage where the 2D sketch is taken to a computer and you make a computer model out of it so you can see it in 3D basically. And then you have your clay prototype. It's like a model. Now from your computer it goes to a physical model where you can actually see the model, scale model, 1:1 model. And then it goes to a prototype. Okay. Now actually some of these prototypes that you see, they look like real cars, but they're not really. I mean, they don't really, you can't drive them. They are kind of models. They are used for auto shows, you know, things like that. Or just one-off pieces. I mean, they are not like mass manufactured vehicles. So, and there are advanced prototypes and basic prototypes. In fact, some of them, they look like cars, but you can actually, you know, you can just poke a hole through the paint because it's just either thermocol or clay on the inside, okay, things like that. So here's a question. So all the 4 stages that you see here, sketching, that's your concept, 2D model, your basic prototype, clay prototype, and an advanced prototype. So is this in the design department or engineering department? Meaning, okay, let's say, you can also say, okay, stage 1 and 2 are in design and 3 and 4 are in engineering. What do you think? What's your opinion? How many would say yes? Entire thing is design department. Anybody else? Both go hand in hand. Design? Engineering, okay. Anybody would say any stage is pure engineering or pure design? Okay, mass to go to the prototype, we need to know the mass and the balance and the functionality and the safety and the crash testing and everything. Okay, fine. Anything else?
Stage 1 and 2 is design, 3 and 4 is engineering.
Okay, stage 1 and 2 is design and 3 and 4 is engineering. Good. Well, all these 4 stages that you see here, all the 4 of them are in the design department. Okay, it's yet to go to full-scale engineering development. It's still yet to. Okay, let me explain. Yes, while we do consult with the engineers, I mean, we need to get the criteria right and the basic packaging right, but all the 4 that you see here is mainly design-driven in the design department, okay? So we reach this stage here where the concept, these are concept cars. So even you see this concept fashion clothes and all these things, right? From here, it goes into surveys, right? Surveys online, surveys in magazines, and general surveys where they decide whether they want to manufacture this car or not. So you'll have about, say, 20 of these concept vehicles, but only 1 may actually go into manufacturing, okay? So rest are a lot of surveys done, a lot of study, or even pieces and bits and pieces of this go into a more manufacturable vehicle, okay? And it's after this stage, now when engineering, say, the team gets to go ahead that this car is going to be manufactured 3 years from now or sold 3 years from now. It's after this, they go back to the drawing board, right? They refine the concept, make it up, then they test it for everything, and then it goes into engineering development, okay? Now, why I'm showing you this is just to give you a glimpse as to how complex the design department is. Because many people just think, oh, design department, we just draw or something like that. No, it's a lot more than that, right? You're literally going with the product all the way almost up to, even into engineering development, right? So it depends, of course, which area of design that you are. This is typically industrial design, and in industrial design, there's a subset called transportation design. And do we do work like this here in Bangalore? Yes, we do. There's a lot of car design houses here in Bangalore, and we have done a lot of advanced work like this here. So it's all happening in the city. It's not like happening somewhere else. Now, this is a very interesting word that I hear from a lot of parents, but. Okay? My child is good in science, but she wants to take design. My child is good in math, but she wants to take design. I'm like, so what does that mean? I mean, it's like only dumb kids go to design? It's like, oh, I can't do science and I can't do math, that's why I'm taking design, you know? I've heard this so many times, so many times. She would like to do design, but she is so good at studies. I'm like, to be in design, you need to ironically have two skills, not one skill. You have to be good in studies, you have to be good in science, you have to be good in everything. You have to be good in general knowledge. You understand? You have to be good in what's happening around the world. You have to be logically very strong. Because like I said, this is not just a bunch of dreamers, it's a bunch of professional dreamers. So we are dreamers, right? I mean, most of us. But now we're going to be professional dreamers, okay? So, so in order for us to validate, right? You've got some idea, you've got a creative idea, but it can't just remain creative. It has to be validated and it has to be made realistic at the same time, keeping the essence of your creativity, keeping the essence of your new and fresh idea, okay? Coming to this, the UI interface that we see, so we hear a lot of these, we've heard about these wars between Apple and Microsoft and you know, them blaming each other, who has stolen who from what and all that. Who do you think actually, where do you think the actual user interface came from? Which company? Any guesses? Yeah, that's correct. So it came from Xerox, where in the 60s, 70s, Xerox was making so much of money out of their photocopy machines. That was the world then. They had excessive money where they opened another innovative lab, like sort of on the lines of MIT Media Labs, where they say, oh, just let's get a bunch of people and do something innovative. So the UI interface, the mouse, everything came from that lab. But ironically, when they showed the mouse to the board for the first time actually laughed at it. And they said, oh, what is this? This is a mouse, right? So it comes back to observation and can you see something or do you laugh at something, right? It's when Steve Jobs kind of visited the Innovative Center at Xerox, he figured out what it can be used for. It hit him. It was there, but he figured out its application. You understand, right? And he went and developed a team and kind of developed this. So therefore, for design, we need to be strong in both. And like I said, you need two skills, not just logical skill, but also a very creative skill, you have to be good in subjective thinking, you know, to be in the design department. So you need both logical thinking and creative thinking, okay? So, any questions so far? Any questions? You all can ask me questions along the way so that it can be interactive. Or we can go ahead, or you can always ask me questions. So, various careers in design, I'm not going to go through this in detail. We'll just glimpse through it, just for you to get an understanding. But the whole idea of this exploration program is for all the students to, when you go to a design school, it's not just about how good you are in drawing or how good you are in your creative thinking. It's about the design process, right? The design methodology, how you put them all together. Part of the design process and methodology is your creative ideation. So that's what we will be exploring in this the program, which is happening in the next 3 weeks. So all the different areas, jewelry design or product design, spatial design, we will be ideating 30 different concepts and taking one of those concepts and you know, fine-tuning them, okay? So we will be going through this in detail. Just a glimpse for you all to kind of get a basic introduction to. There is, these are the different companies that typically designers work for. All the major software companies. I'm sure there are a lot of software parents here in the software industry, you would obviously know about your UI UX team and the graphic team, that also the communications team that also sits with them. Anything you touch which has an interface, whether it's your a wearable device or your laptop, phone, apps, and in the future, smart homes, anything that has a human-machine interface, right, needs your front end. And obviously, when front end means a human is touching it or interacting with the back-end software. So that's where you need a lot of creative design work, creative designers to work there. Okay, this is a car that was developed in Bangalore, a concept vehicle to show you the kind of development that happens here in Bangalore, to show you the kind of work that happens in Bangalore. So typically, this is what like a design studio looks like, or at least the one I worked in, Whitefield, looks very similar to this. In fact, it's a real fun environment when the engineers within the same GM platform, you have your scientists, you have your engineers, and you have your designers. We can go into their departments, but they can't come to the design department. They need special permission for that, okay? And so when they come to the design department, they're all in awe because it's like, you know, it's so interesting, and you can see a lot of future kind of work happening there, which possibly some of the projects they themselves have not seen. So a lot of them would come and ask us, oh, how is it you get into the design department? And what have you all done? And because people have not heard of, not too many people are heard of design schools. I'm talking about then. Of course, there's a lot more awareness now. But to just give you a sense of, literally the design department is a couple of steps ahead of engineering or even software development, you know? So to just give you a sense of that importance and feel. So a lot of famous products that we see today. Anybody can tell me what's the one to the right? It's a fan. In fact, it's a Dyson fan. You can, actually, it doesn't have any blades. You can put your hand through, but it kind of blows. Obviously, a lot of you all would have seen the Dyson vacuum cleaner, right? Dyson. So good examples of product design. A life straw, where you can just carry the straw around and you can just drink from any pond or any area, and it just gives you a filter with safe water. So here's another interesting part. There are also designers in the medical industry. So for example, Johnson & Johnson manufactures medical equipment. Boston Scientific hires medical surgical equipment, dentist tools. And we had some of our batchmates working for Johnson & Johnson. They developed surgical tools. So part of their research was they would attend surgeries, orthopedic surgeries, knee replacement, hip replacement, and observe how doctors work, right? And see how they could add value or improvise surgical tools and equipment. So think about it. I'm giving you the range of how all designers work. In fact, even some of the consultancy companies have design teams. McKinsey has a huge design team. So when they get projects, say if they get a project from Samsung and they want to either launch a new line of products, the designers do studies for them. They are part of the team. So even consultancy companies hire designers. So design is changing India in a big way. The rupee symbol itself was designed by a communication designer from IIT Bombay. And all of us have seen the drastic change, especially like in the Mahindra, Tata vehicles, the importance they have given to design, because they know that if it's good design, it sells, right? In fact, Mahindra has bought Pininfarina. Pininfarina is the design house for Ferrari, right? So they have bought them over to show how serious they are. Very, very traditional Indian companies about design and the investment they are doing in design. So typically, even when you sit, like say for example, the next time when you travel, especially Indigo is a very good example, to see how everything is designed, their graphic design, their uniforms, it's even from their website, you can see such a smooth transition, and a lot of it is quite humorous. Like if you see the cashew nut box, it says nutcase, and you know, like this is the runway to to 35,000 feet. So there's a lot of humor in it. And that really, it subtly kind of attracts you. You know, it attracts you to that brand. Some of these products that you see in the supermarkets that you naturally feel like buying, Paperboat is a good example that at least you feel like trying it out to see what it is like once, or at least it's different, it's attractive, you know, packaging design. And typically how, you know, it's just the same place, how design changes the value. It completely raises the value of real estate or anything that you touch. So quickly here, just skimming through, there are different departments: industrial, communication, IT integrated, interdisciplinary, fashion, and architecture. Okay, so you have transportation design, product design, glass and ceramic, furniture, toy game, animation and film, exhibition, film and video communication, graphic, photography. Even say communication design also is huge, massive. Like you can just think of the e-commerce industry, the amount of fashion designers it hires, the amount of e-commerce education, the amount of educational content they are creating, Dr. Binocs, and all these videos that they're creating for students, all done by designers. And when I say designers here, I mean a lot of his TED Talk animations, right? So a designer needs to really understand what's the content that they're going to deliver, to what age group, who is going to you know, absorb that information. Visual communication, photography, IT integrated design, booming, huge, really employs a lot of people. Interdisciplinary design, fashion, textile, leather, lifestyle accessory, fashion communication, architecture, and interiors. In fact, it's also quite an interesting fact how things are related. Like, can you imagine that fashion designers work for the car industry? Like when we were in GM, right? So there's a department called color and trim, which hires only fashion designers. Or that's one of the key people they need to have, because all your fabric, interior fabric, color, touch and feel of quality, fashion designers are more specialized in that. So you can be a fashion designer and even work for the automobile industry. To just give you how they're all connected. So, any questions? No? Okay, so just a quick glimpse into the future. So, you know, all these wearable devices are coming out. Your Apple Vision Pro, your HoloLens by Microsoft, and also the metaverse. So there's so much of virtual reality space that's going to happen. So you can just even, we are literally, I would say, on the tip of the iceberg. I mean, we're literally at the, you know, the Bronze Age, right? When things are going to completely explode into the virtual world, which is going to happen very soon. It's inevitable, right? The amount of course, a lot of technology, but a lot of designers are going to be involved in this transition. They already are, and it's just going to create so much more opportunity for designers. Smart homes. In fact, all that you see here is all going to be completely outdated. All the locks that you have, you can actually keep them as antique showpieces because it's not going to be there in another, possibly, yeah, I'm saying 10, 15 years on an average. It's all going to be automated. Fan switches and all that are literally going to be antique, right? It's all going to be voice command. Drones, of course, we've already seen this happening big time on whether it is commercial, military, and on so many levels, right? Even superhumans, where we are going to be there's going to be a lot of assistance kind of as we transition slowly into a kind of a cyborg assisted world. Grid-driven traffic. In fact, right now that we drive manually is going to be, in a few years from now, that's going to be possibly illegal, right? You will have to drive by the grid, or you have to, everything will be automated, everything will be connected, right? I'm talking a couple of years from now, but who knows, that can happen. And of course, a lot of questions we get on is about AI and how AI is going to help, assist, kind of make jobs obsolete or things like that, right? Just a small note on AI. I'm sure there are a lot of software parents here who would know a lot more in detail, but AI actually comes on different levels, okay? I mean, a lot of people, when they think AI, they think general AI, or they think, but AI is also on different levels, generative AI, which does AI that does very specific tasks, right? They don't do all the tasks that you think of, and we are still far away from general AI. So does AI kind of make jobs obsolete? Yes, it does, right? Of course. Any kind of technology, like let's say, for example, if you go to the car industry, you have these mechanical arms, mechanic welding arms, which has actually reduced number of jobs, but it increases the amount of intellectual jobs. Because somebody, even if it's AI, somebody has to even prompt the AI, or somebody has to check the AI, right? You can't just give in something and give output to something else. Yes, it may reduce the amount of your iterative work. It may reduce your amount of study or research that you do, but you still have to check, you still have to monitor, right? And to monitor that, your skills need to be one step higher, right? So literally you'll become a higher level of worker, learning how to manage AI, okay? So this is what I have. To give an introduction to give you all. And now Umesh will be talking more about the program. If there's anything you all would like to ask, you all can ask, or we'll just wait for Umesh. Okay? Yeah. Go ahead. So the question is, we spoke about multiple design streams. Can a person take either one or multiple of them, right? So see, there are different ways you can go about it. Like say, some schools, like if you go to, I'm sure all of you all must be aware that IIT offers design. IIT offers design as a program. So there are some schools that offer, like say IIT, it's not specialized, it's a general BDes, where every semester they will be doing one semester product, one semester UI, UX, and things like that. So if you go into some schools like NID, or second level schools is like say communication design, they do it as a program as a whole, right? And third level, they even go even more deeper. They'll say, no, this is BDes in transportation design, right? To answer your question, you can go very specific, you can go a little general, depending on the school. But here's the interesting part. When you go to a design school, yes, it is different from a typical technical school, because what we learn is design methodology. Now, design methodology, your basic steps are, this is your brief, this is how you do your research, this is how you study the market, this is how you come up with concepts, this is how you make prototypes, this is how you validate the concepts, right? And this is how you test it, right? So that's called a design methodology, which is generally taught in all schools. Now, the skills that we learn are quite similar, like whether it's a fashion designer or a product designer, our ideation, our concept development, the way of method of research, and the whole process is the same. The point is, if a student, say, takes communication design and wants to do their master's in industrial or UI UX, they can easily transition. Okay, graphic and interaction, okay? How similar are they, and are they related to each other? Okay, graphic is what you see. I can look at a graphic and see an image, right? It can be a motion graphic, it can be a still graphic. For example, if you look at your phone, you'll see an icon, a Swiggy or Zomato. So that's a graphic. But if I click on the graphic, I'm interacting with the software. I'm going into a virtual experience. I'm going into a virtual space. I click here, I get the next set of 4 options. Where does my eye see? What does my eye constantly miss? There's a button here, but I never saw it, right? So how am I interacting in a virtual software world, or also how am I interacting in the physical world? So interaction design can also be in, for example, there's something called as point of purchase design. So if you notice, as you go to the checkout counter, there's a lot of things kept there for you to see, which you don't want to buy, but you will buy. Chocolates, or if you go to H&M socks, or whatever it may be, just near the checkout counter, small things which you can go and buy. So it's your interaction with the environment. Graphic is specifically what you mean more like a BFA, Bachelor's of Fine Arts kind of school. Okay. So yes, there is a big difference between a design school and a Bachelor of Fine Arts, a big difference. Mainly, Bachelor of Fine Arts is more focusing on your skill, right? Your fine arts skill, and of course, research around that. If I'm going more into paintings or sculptures or things like that, which I can use as installations for commercial art, right? I'm going more specifically into that. Whereas design focuses mainly on the design methodology. Methodology meaning, if you, let's say you have a company and you want to create an app, I will understand who are the users of your app. How are they going to use it? What's your age group? Is your app going to be India-specific, international, targeted at the rural people, targeted at what age group? I go more into that. You understand, right? More research for that and understanding the whole methodology. The key difference would be, a lot of people think, okay, for a design, as a designer, I need to be good in my drawing and things like that, or that's how they're judged. That's just one of your skill. But your main skill is how you see, you observe, you put things together, you connect the dots, you are able to connect manufacturing, engineering. It depends on what level you're working on, right? And things like that. So I would say, in a nutshell, design schools are more about the entire design methodology, whereas BFA is more focused on specific skills and making you good at that. Of course, you do go into commercial art, right? But it's still more focused on that rather than the whole methodology. Any other questions right now on design careers or design methodology? Okay. You might even come up with questions later. And Umesh is ready. So the question here was, every engineer, like let's say HAL, DRDO, or any of the development, they do a lot of design work as well, as in they too need to do a level of design, okay? Now, this is a very interesting question. Again here, design is a little misunderstood, okay? We're talking about engineering design versus pure industrial design, okay? Now, especially in the software, any parents in the software industry, there are two types of people who come to UI UX. One is, let's say, for example, somebody with 5 years of software development experience who do a course and then go into UI UX, or are you taking a BDes, MDes person and and using them in your UI UX team? You get the difference? Someone who's a software programmer for 5 years and 10 years, and there are a lot of UI UX courses which you can do online, and then you become a UI UX person, which there are a lot of UI UX people who are that, previous software developers. Or is it somebody from a BDes, MDes background and becoming a UI UX designer? Now, here's the first question I would like to ask is, if I am a UI UX designer, do I need to know software programming? Okay? How many would think I need to know programming? No? If I am I'm an industrial designer in the transportation segment, do I need to have any engineering knowledge about the cars? Ironically, no. Sorry.
Yes, I thought yes.
You thought yes. Ironically, no. Okay? because things have become so specialized. Yes, of course, I need to know some basic knowledge, not advanced knowledge. Okay, okay, there's a 3-box vehicle, 2-box vehicle, or is it a sports vehicle or whatever it is. I know very, very basic thing. In fact, I would know as much as possibly a school child would know. Okay, but I'm not into engineering because this is my department and this is what I am good at. I have the engineer sitting next door and he will do the engineering work. You understand, right? So now what happens is, now to answer your question, let's say we have a company, okay, this is the design department, this is the engineering department or software development department. So which company on an average will tend to be more successful, okay? A design company which hires BDES, MDES designers who are excellent and top-notch in their design, right? Design sensitivity, design thinking, design feel. Because design has a lot of sensitivity, observation, feel, and a basic level of skill which is unique and different, okay? Or do I take engineers who will do design as well? On an average, which company you think will be more successful? So, what would you think? Okay, fine. Oh, sorry. Okay. Now let me take the world's best engineers. And you all saw a video on the car, right? How many of them, all rank 1 holders, how many of them would be able to sketch a vehicle? And the person who is sketching the vehicle will not know anything about engineering. So the best way for senior management is to get them both together. And say, this guy is good at sketching vehicles. Let him sketch vehicles. You don't, let him not worry about the design, engineering. Okay, of course. When I say, I mean, it's not that he's designing a small hatchback or the product is a hatchback and he's designing an SUV. It won't be that bad. But he knows it's an SUV, he'll design an SUV. Ironically, in fact, actually the design department is the most difficult department to deal with. You're listening to a bunch of guys who just don't listen to anyone or who don't care about their work. They're like, oh, you want me to go? I'll go, no problem. Okay? But they're creative, they're good at what they do. Now what happens is, you take the engineers and develop that. And the engineers will give them feedback, right? Okay, this is violating in these areas. Can this area be modified? You understand, right? But it doesn't mean that the designers are just dumb creative people. They're also super intelligent with big dreams. They too like to push things. They like to possibly push something that the engineers will laugh at initially, but how it works is there's a compromise. It's always a compromise, right? And the designers will try to push their design and the engineers will try to push their engineers. Similarly with UI, UX, yeah, with anything, software development or engineering, it's always better to have people who are very good and very specialized at what they do in their department and let the departments interact with each other. Of course, over a period of time, rather than the engineers understanding design, the designers who are good at their job, they understand engineering and they understand each other. There's a skin, obviously, between each department. But it's always better that way. And that's the reason why, say for example, defense, right? You have such a huge budget, but we are still not coming out with innovative, products and solutions for defense. Why? Because we still don't have a proper industrial design department. Now, if you have a whole bunch of NIDians or designers from the working in a department along with engineering, your products will be far superior. Yeah. So think about it. Even the parents who are in software, I've had a lot of debate with parents in the past. From a lot of senior parents come here. In your department, what's better? A UI UX person from UI UX, from an MDES, BDES background with experience rather than a software developer with experience. Because if you go to the West, they know how to work. They just take people who are very skilled at what they do and they make them work as a team. You understand, right? So that's how it works. Rather than, what's their technology background or something like that. I mean, that helps, but it's more the skill for the work. For example, I don't know how many of you all have seen this movie, The Imitation Game. Alan Turing, Imitation Game, right? He helped, in fact, he made the world's first, almost, you can call it the world's first counting machine. If you've not watched this movie, please watch this movie. The Imitation Game, okay, about Alan Turing. Now, the German machine, it was called the Enigma, okay, was basically the Enigma would crack the code, or it sends codes and decodes messages for the war. And so there was a team that was developed in the UK to crack this Enigma machine, okay? And one of the criteria for the team, which you'll see in the movie, is, of course, they picked up the best minds in UK for problem solving, on puzzles and problem solving to crack this code. And one of the criteria was they must know German. And when Alan Turing went for the interview, he says, I don't know German, right? And they said, if you don't know German, then we can't select you. So they're not selecting the best. But he happened to be one of the best who invented the machine. You need to crack the code. You don't need to know German. Once you crack the code, I mean, just a basic German, if you know, that's it. You can crack that's the logic. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyway.
One more question. Excuse me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I was here yesterday actually, and I was talking to your counselor, and a couple of things which he spoke about is whether to select science or commerce or arts in 11th or 12th. So if somebody is focused on design, let's say in class 10th, and they want to do a design, what do you suggest for them to select, whether science or commerce or arts, or whether something completely different which we don't know that they can choose?
Okay, very good question. And I'll answer this question before Umesh can take over. So the question is whether to choose science or commerce for, science or commerce in any other stream for design. So this is how it works. To get into design, technically, it's only for architecture that you require PCM in India, okay? So other than architecture, you can take any equivalent stream of design, and you can get into, for example, I can do humanities, commerce, and get into IIT Bombay for design, right? I don't have to do PCM. So if I take the top Indian schools, let's say national schools, it's only, there are IIT Bombay, Delhi, Hyderabad. It's only IIT Guwahati that insists on PCM. They act as, autonomous bodies, so they can still insist on PCM. Whereas all the NIDs, Rafa NIDs, they say, no, you don't need, or the NIFTs. Any stream will do. So the question is, first of all, the basic question is, you do not need to take any PCM to do design.
Should the student, if they are good in PCM, should they go for the PCM or?
Oh, that's personal interest. That's personal interest. For example, me, I was always very interested in science. I still am. So, and I'm a designer. Yes, if you're interested in PCM, go for it by all means. It's all an area of interest. It all helps. So even all your knowledge, basically knowledge helps in every way. So you're interested in design and you want to take physics, chemistry, and maths, by all means. Yeah, you can. Yes, answer is you can. BITS actually started this year. Do they ask for PCM? BITS? No. BITS also doesn't ask. BITS also doesn't ask. This year they've just started. You're right. Yeah. So just to add to that, just for the sake of IIT or Guwahati, say somebody who's not interested in PCM. If you're in interest, go ahead. If you're not interested, you don't need to take. And just for that one college, it doesn't make any sense, right? Yeah. Sure.
There is another course in CBSE.
Sorry?
There is another course in CBSE. In +2, they have an extra subject called design.
Yes.
I mean, how much that will help a student in?
Yes. In CBSE, they have a subject design and innovation. It helps. You take it, it's definitely helpful because those certain number of hours, instead of taking another subject in your school, you might as well use that time to develop your skills. Your drawing skills, art skills, thinking skills. I think it's, if you can choose that subject, by all means, please do. Yeah, but of course, later, like say, for example, if you do come to a DQ Labs, you learn design, you also learn a lot more here, but if you have the choice, please take it by all means. Okay. Okay, let's have a small creative fun exercise, and then we'll all have a small break, a snack break. So all of you all are getting a piece of paper. So now let's see your thought and creativity coming out, okay? It's for students and parents, okay? So we want to see a lot of parents' creativity and thought process also coming out. Do they all have pens? Yeah, all of you all have a pen or a pencil? Any pen or pencil, okay? So you see this little tick mark here, right? Or whatever you see that is. Now you're supposed to draw 9 different things around it, okay? So 9 different things around it. Whatever you see, whatever you feel, uh, you think you can draw. You have a pen or a pencil or something? No. Bring out all your creativity, thinking, anything. You can draw whatever you want. You can draw. I leave it up to you. Yeah, I'll just pass them along. Yeah, pens. Anybody wants pens? Just pass them along. Are there a lot more coming?
Is done. So shall we start? Yeah. Okay, so how is it going so far? Good, good. Got good understanding of design? Yes. All right. Just to give you a brief. So you have seen Shaun speaking. So I'm Umesh. Shaun and myself, we were classmates in IIT Delhi. And in fact, we both got campus placed in General Motors after we have done our masters in design. And apparently we had worked in many automotive industries as designers. And he was instrumental in managing the design projects, and I was part of the design team to come up with innovative designs for transportation design. And we both had similar vision of empowering youngsters with giving awareness, coaching them and mentoring them in the design field. So that is how the DQ Labs has been started. Any one of you can tell what DQ stands for in DQ Labs? Okay, okay, cool, cool. DQ also stands for Dairy Queen. Okay. So good. It's a design quotient, right? And since, see, one of the qualities of a designer, all right, is like a detective, all right? So what does a detective do? If there's a crime scene, he goes there and investigates, right? As designers, we are very curious to understand anything that is happening at a society level or at an individual level, at a personal level. We try to investigate further, research further, right? So as designers, we are quite keen in research activities, and since we are running the DQ Labs and we are into education, so naturally that research interests have also grown into the education field. So we publish our findings, we file for patents, we have secured patents, and we also have got design awards. So designers are not just lone, like what they call like lone wolf, right? We are not like lone wolf, but we are always the pack of people. Like okay, so we try to understand how people behave and what people want, right? And in fact, as part of our professional work, we also train teachers, especially the CBSE teachers, to help them imbibe the design thinking and learn the tools of design and AI, right? And we also have keen interest in game design. So we are trying to explore how games can be used for teaching, all right, teaching or learning any subject, right? So and we also try to bring social change through design intervention, and we organize this pan-India design hackathon every year, so which is open for anybody who's interested to bring a change in their lives or in the society. So what they do is they attend this 2-day online hackathon, and they learn the tools for empathy, what empathy is, how they can empathize, and they learn the design thinking process, and they learn the AI tools, and they basically apply all of that learning in identifying a problem that is worth solving, and they present their ideas as well. So every year we witness fantastic ideas to change the society. The winner of the current the 2023 design hackathon was a Bangalore student. So her what she has noticed is the way the lakes in Bangalore are basically contracting in terms of the size and also in terms of quality. So she has come up with something called as a lotus. It's like a floating lotus, which measures the impurity of the lakes and immediately changes the color of the lotus, so that people can actually see what is happening in the lake. See, currently, unless the fish float up, we do not know the quality of the lake, right? So these are the kind of innovations that have been an outcome of the design hackathon. And the 2024 design hackathon is happening in the month of August, and it is open for everyone. Even parents can participate, professionals, businessmen, children, students, teachers. It is open for everyone. All right, so it's a great opportunity to get a hands-on experience of what designers do and how they solve the problems. And pre-pandemic, we also organized these international study tours. We basically used to take them to Italy or Dubai, right, where which are quite design conscious cities. Italy is also traditionally, culturally deep rooted. So they get an experience of understanding and navigating these spaces personally to experience design, right? And this year, in the month of September, we are organizing a tour for Japan. It's not a holiday tour, it's a study tour, all right, where the participants will be navigating through the spaces like a local Japanese to understand the design, how they have integrated design into their daily life, all right? Okay. Anyway, so what we generally do here is everything related to design, whether it is research, whether it is mentoring, teaching, social impact programs, train the trainers. So everything that is associated with design, we are deeply involved with. Our idea is basically to unlock potential through design intervention in people. So that is why the DQ Labs exist. So you all have learned all about design. Shaun has spent a lot of time on that, but primarily there is a difference between art, craft, and design. Anybody would like to just give an example of difference between art, craft, and design? Anyone would like to volunteer? Yes?
Make origami out of something, and design means you draw something and make it in real life.
Amazing. Okay, how old are you?
10 years old.
Amazing. Very cool. So I'll just give you some examples of art, craft, design, and I'm introducing a word called as experience. All right. So you can see, can you recognize this painting? Anyone recognizes this painting? Dali's painting is about time. All right, so the representation of time through art. All right, and this is a famous cuckoo clocks, Switzerland. Okay, these are carefully handmade craft. All right, and the regular design that we see here in the regular clocks and etc. is all industrial design. So it is designed for mass manufacturing. All right, and the one that you see here is also a clock. This is designed by Philip Stark, a famous designer, right? Now, it also tells time, but also it is a piece of art, right? And also it adds experience. When somebody who looks at that would not stay calm, and they'll ask, okay, what is this weird thing, right? It also initiates a dialogue, right? So that is the difference between art, craft, and design and experience. And what we as designers should be aiming for is to create an experience through the products or services that we are creating. Okay? So can you guess what this is? It's a lemon squeezer, right? We all would have used it. Okay? And do you know what this is? Yeah? Hair? Yeah. It's used for like hair massage. Hair massage. All right. Anybody else can try what this object is? Yes, sir. It's a juicer. Okay. So how many of you believe it's a juicer? Right. Okay. Fine. So that's a lemon squeezer. It's called lemon squeezy, right? So it is also designed by Philip Stark, a very well-known designer. Now, the one on the left is sold for maybe 200 rupees. Okay, the one on the right is sold for $200 probably. Right? So that's the value of design. What a designer can add into a regular product. The product can be a very mundane one, but through your design thinking, through your creativity, by following the design process, you can elevate the experience and the value of using a product. Okay, so that is why we exist, designers exist. Okay. Now, so once upon a time, in fact, the definition of design is changing. All right, so once upon a time, the shoes are designed by a designer, right? So when you're buying a shoe, you're looking at how good the shoe is. But what is happening now is, it's not just the product that we are looking at, it is the complete experience that we get by using the product. All right, now the focus has changed the product or a service to the experience of using the product. Okay? And it is getting even more complex. Okay, it is not just the product and the service, but it is also about the entities. Like for example, this is a scenario of a healthcare industry. Okay, so you have hospitals, you have insurance company, you have government, medical devices, pharmacy, medical device manufacturers, medical suppliers, patient and doctor. So we are looking at an ecosystem, right? And within the ecosystem, there are relationships between each of those entities. Like for example, an insurance company has a relationship with hospitals, and hospitals have a relationship with the government, right? So it's a complex ecosystem, okay? And then there are further attributes to these entities. Like for example, in a pharmacy, there are employees, there are products, there is location. Hospital deals with the patients. So patients, we are talking about health condition, treatment plan. So it is no longer just a product, no longer just a service. It's a complete system. So the role and the scope of design is increasing. All right? It is no longer just designing a product and, okay, mera kaam ho gaya. No, right? It is beyond that. You have to be looking at a larger scale. So this is the bigger picture. In fact, when a few years ago, like 10, 20 years ago, if you're talking about design, people used to think about, acha, you do some DTP work, oh, you design some clothes, you're a tailor. That kind of an understanding used to be, okay? But that understanding has transitioned to maybe, okay, you design products, you're a product designer, okay, you're a visual communication designer, or okay, you design environments, you're an architect, etc. But that scope is increasing now. The scope of that has moved to design of services. All right, it's no longer a mobile phone, but an ecosystem that is revolving around a mobile phone. Like you have cloud services, you have payment systems using your mobile phone, okay, owned by a particular company, right? And a step next to that is design for social innovation. All right. So majority of the design is happening basically for big companies, right? So there is another area which is not very highly focused, that is the people in general. Okay. So there is a tremendous focus that is being shifted into social innovation. For example, the peer-to-peer lending. Okay. So people previously used to go for banks to get the loans. And many people, because of lack of their credentials, they were not able to get the loans. But there is now the microfinancing system, like peer-to-peer lending, right? So, so that's a part of the social innovation, okay? And then there is something called as transition world, transition design. Now this is very interesting. This is where the designers are working with the governments to change the policies such that the people that they're governing can live peacefully. Okay, so one of the examples is, there is one Mr. Professor Vijay. He's a very senior designer, ex-NIDN. Now he's teaching at IITD, Chicago. All right. Now, what recent jobs that he is working on is that he is working with UAE government, okay, to design the policies. Now, you must be thinking, okay, how is this designer going into a policy level and etc.? Because anything that is existing in this world, whether it is a company, or business, an organization, or government, it is existing because it is taking care of servicing the people. Right? So unless they understand the people, how can they design the policies better? Right? Now, who is the person who can understand the people? Right? It is the designers who are trained to empathize with the people. Right? So designers are also getting into the policy level. Okay? So the scope of design is quite wide. It is not just designing a product or a service. All right? So now let's go into the deep, what it happens, how it happens. Okay. So there are 4 steps in the deep process. The first step is attending the in-class orientation. So that is what all of you are doing. Okay. Because majority of you are not from the design background, or not, maybe a few of you from the creative field, but majority of you are not. Okay. And then the exposure levels of the children that would be having is based on your family connections, or maybe whatever exposure they're getting through the friend circle, or through whatever media that they're watching, right? But everybody has a different understanding of what design is, okay? And to basically orient all of you onto the same page, all right? So we are having this design and orientation. So once this is done, so the second stage will kick off, where you will be attending the 18 different sessions, all right, starting from April 16th. And you will be doing these 15 hands-on projects, okay, and then you'll be compiling the presentations, and I'll be sharing the session calendar soon. So that is the second step, right? As part of your program, you'll also be visiting certain design schools. So instead of having that on a Saturday, we had to change it to a Thursday, because schools were not operating on a Saturday, the staff and faculty, students, etc. So they have requested us to organize it on a working day. So we have moved it to Thursdays. Okay. So that is the second step. The third step is once you finish your presentation on your Canva document and etc., you will be booking an appointment with me or Shaun. So we will be looking through your work in presence of your parents, and we will be identifying, analyzing your work and identifying certain areas where you can excel really well. So that kind of a feedback we'll be having as the step 3. And the step 4 is for all those who have successfully completed all the 15 projects, we'll be having a convocation, and the convocation is planned for 16th June, which is a Sunday. All right. So what happens in the convocation is we'll be picking one of your work, whatever work that you have done, which we have identified has got a lot of potential, and we'll get it developed by our design team, and that work will be printed on your certificate. So that is a certificate you will be getting as a memory that you will be carrying along with you. So that will be the end of your DEP journey. All right? Okay. So these are the 15 hands-on projects that you'll be working on. So some relate to architecture, product, and visual communication. And in each of these projects, what we aim to give you and what we want you to learn is basically the exposure about the discipline. Let us say you are doing architecture. Okay, who are the famous architects? What are their contributions? What did they do? All right? And what are the careers look like, etc. That is number one. Secondly, you take up a project, and we are going to introduce a methodology, a design methodology called as a CUP 56. I'm going to tell you. With that, using that, you can come up with unlimited ideas. If I ask you to design something now, a logo, you may come up with 1, 2, 3. And then you'll say, okay, please pick one from one of these. Right? But how do you generate like 200, 300, 500 ideas? Is it possible? Right? So we use a methodology with which you are able to generate unlimited ideas. And we apply this for every project. So it becomes part of your thinking. Right? So you generate 30 ideas for each of the project, and then you refine one of the ideas to the best of your abilities. We are not expecting you to draw beautifully and etc. We are only looking at the concept and the thought process. All right. So this is what we are looking at. We are looking at the fluency of ideas, how fluently you are able to generate the ideas. Okay, so naturally, I mean, the thought process before was that, okay, if you want to have ideas, you go to a calm place, you sit under a bodhi tree, you meditate, and then you get an inspiration. Right? That is a thought process, right? But it doesn't work like that in the design industry. In the design industry, we force the ideas to come out, and we use methodologies to do that. And that is a very pleasant experience. It's like going on a treasure hunt, right? So sometimes you find gold, sometimes you find bones, but you don't get discouraged. It's a process that you go through, okay? So fluency of ideas and uniqueness of ideas. For example, the exercise that we have created here, right? So when you have done this exercise, how many of you have got unique 9 ideas? What I mean is, for example, you did a flower here, you did a stethoscope here, you did a maybe apple there, and then you did a footwear, and then you did a car. So that is called as uniqueness of ideas. Not like, okay, let us say this is a corn pizza, this is paneer pizza, this is maybe tomato pizza, and this cheese pizza. Not just pizzas, right? You have to come up with different kinds of ideas. That is called as uniqueness. So we'll be looking at your uniqueness of ideas, okay, and your thought process. So what was your thought process behind your generation of ideas? We'll be evaluating that. And whether you have enjoyed doing what you're doing or not. Did you enjoy the process or not? Because as you are a designer, your main objective, I mean, one of the areas is coming up with fantastic ideas. Okay, and volume of ideas, all right? So these are the evaluation parameters that we'll be looking at. And this is the schedule for the design exploration program. So as I said, on every Thursday, we are having the school visit, right? So this will share with all of you. And I hope you're all aware of the timings at the respective centers as well. all right? So, to facilitate this process, we will be using DQ Edge. Every student should be having access to DQ Edge. Do you all have the access to DQ Edge? All the students who are enrolled? Yes? Okay. If you do not have access, then we will enable you to give the access, okay? Now this is where, in fact, this is an award-winning platform, all right? So it's a NASSCOM Design for India award, and then CII's Best Design Award. And in fact, we have won we have come to the finalist in UK e-assessment awards for this platform, which we have only designed. Of course, as designers, we do that, right? So on this platform, you document, you access all the material that is required for your design exploration program, and also you document your work on that. Okay, I'll show you how to document the work. I will show you the documentation a little later, but what are the tools that you're going to use for this? Okay, so you got to use a black pen, A4 sheets paper, and if you have sketch pens or any gel pens or colorful pens, all right? So we are not going to use pencil, all right? So doesn't matter if a drawing goes wrong, no problem, you can redraw it on the same page in this another corner, okay? There are a couple of reasons why we are trying to do that is because, first of all, you should be free from the fear of making mistakes, right? If you make a mistake, fine, you draw another one. Because as a designer, you are exposed to a lot of rejections and failures because, see, you are on the journey of innovation. Innovation means you are trying to find out something new, which is never existing, right? There are 100% chances that whatever you're trying to innovate always fails. So with that failure, you cannot be disappointed. Now, these are the small steps to build that confidence in you, that it's okay, it's a mistake, that's fine, the drawing has gone wrong, all right, we'll do another drawing, okay? So that is one reason. And the second reason is, see, you'll be taking a picture of all your work and documenting on DQ Edge. If you do with a pencil and take a picture, you can't hardly see anything, right? So when you use a nice black pen, everyone will be able to see the work, okay? And the reason of colors is to make it more playful. You enjoy the process of using colors, and when you're using a different medium, okay, your thought process also flows very smoothly for that reason. And so these are the kind of sketches that you will be doing. And don't be alarmed looking at those sketches, saying, okay, I have never done anything like that. This student has also never done anything like that before, all right? So that is our job, to help you come up with these kind of ideas, that kind of a presentation and all of that, all right? So one of the important things is to trust your teacher, okay? If you trust your teacher and follow whatever instructions we are giving you, then you will naturally, you get the outcomes, all right? So this is in fact as part of the fashion design exercise where you're trying to explore different designs on various methods and etc., right? Various contexts. So we kind of insist that you come up with 30 different ideas because we want you to get into the flow, okay? So initially you may not get that flow, but once you try, practice, the flow will come. And I mean, practice in the sense we'll be giving you a methodology and you have to put that into practice. Then the flow will come, okay? So these are some other examples. Anyway, so now the question is, how do you come up with 30 different ideas? So 30 seems to be a big number, isn't it? So we use this particular methodology. So once you understand this methodology, it becomes very easy, all right? So CUP, so C is for context, U is for user, and P is for purpose. Okay, I'll give you an example of what these are. And then you basically identify the user likes and dislikes, and taking the likes of the user, you come up with 5 themes, and for each of the theme, you come up with 6 ideas. So that way, you should be able to come up with 30 different ideas very easily. Okay, so let me give you some examples. Okay, so we all have used bottle, right? Now, bottle is the most simple object. We would use right from maybe 1 month old to like a senior citizen, right? Now, the design of a bottle is very, very different. Have you seen multiple, all the bottles are all the same or they're all different? They're all different. The reason why they're different, because of the context. Okay, so one of the reasons is the context. Okay, now this is a bottle that you use for your regular purpose, maybe for keeping freezing water in a refrigerator. Now, can you guess what is this bottle for? For cycling. All right, so see how the bottle design changes by context. If the bottle goes into refrigerator, the design is different. If it has to be used for cycling, the design is different. What is this? Sorry? Compact area. So in fact, this is called as a memo bottle. This is designed by Australian designers, right? So what they figured is when they were going for work, okay, in Australia you get water everywhere. Everywhere you get the potable water. You don't have to buy water, or you don't have to carry water. See, if you are coming to office here, or maybe going somewhere out, see, in India there is no potable water. I mean, you can't just open the tap and drink water. But in other countries it is possible. In Italy you can drink from a fountain, water fountain, no problem, you're healthy. But not in India. In Australia, there is water everywhere. So for them, there is no need to carry a 1 liter bottle, 2 liter bottle. Okay, because they can just go, refill, drink water, refill and take it back. That's number one. Number two, especially those who are working in office, all right, so many people, they use these circular bottles, right? And you try to fit it in your bag. And wherever the bottle is, your bag is like bulging, right? So it is not user-friendly, it is not designed properly. So they have come up with a design called as memo bottle. Like memo is like a paper, right? It is like a notebook-sized bottle. It looks like a notebook, transparent notebook, right? See, again, context is different, so the bottle shape is different, right? Can you guess what this is? It's a bottle, but for what context? Bars, okay. Huh? It looks like a bat. Baseball bat, okay. Can you guess what is this bottle for? In what context it will be used? Sorry? Bowling pin, yeah, it looks like a bowling pin. Space, yes, brilliant. So this is a bottle designed for space. Because you cannot take a plastic bottle or a glass bottle of water and use it in the space. Because a lot of pressure is there, right? Or lack of pressure thereof, right? So this is designed specifically for space. So basically to carry wine. Okay, so so space exploration company, they are expecting to go to space, so they want to celebrate, so this bottle was been designed for that reason. So now you see, based on the context, how the design changes. Okay. Now the next U is for user. Now based on the user, again the design changes. Okay, for example, like a 6-month-old baby. Okay, how she holds and how she drinks, and then this for 1-year-old, a bottle for 1-year-old. So this is like 5 years old bottle. Okay, this is probably for a 13-year-old or a teenager, right? So similarly, this is for different user preference. This is for office goer, because if you give this for office goer, would you buy? Or maybe that? No. So it is important that you understand the user, okay, and the shape of the design, how it works, how it looks changes. All right. So the next one is based on purpose. Now these bottles are all for the same purpose, but they are quite different, because the designer who is designing them has interpreted the purpose in a different way. Okay, so these are all for hiking. Okay, now you see this bottle compared to that one. Okay, so it has certain advantages and that has certain advantages. So what is the advantage of this bottle? Lightweight. When you go for hiking, you don't want to carry even 10 grams seems like 1 kg after you walk for some time. So you want to keep it light, right? So based on the purpose as well, the design changes. So these are the 3 things that you should be considering. CUP, right? Cup. And then what you also do is you take the inspiration. Okay, I'll give examples of inspiration. Inspiration doesn't mean that you're copying. In fact, I try to contest the idea that there are original ideas in the world. Would you agree with me? Are there any original ideas in the world? They're always inspired. Everything is there in the nature. And we are taking inspiration from that, and we are basically adding or deleting or doing something, and we are creating a new one. Okay? Fine. For example, let us say taking inspiration from turtle. A chair, a piece of chair inspired by turtle. All right? And how can it look like? Right? Okay? So let us say another example, a chair inspired from puzzles, the jigsaw puzzles, right? So that's a little sketch by one of the students. Okay? So if you are able to do sketches like that, that is enough. We are not looking at fantastic quality drawings. If you have the ability, do that. But if you don't have, absolutely fine. Okay? So how does this look like in the environment? Right? Okay? So let us take another example. Let's say a chair inspired from avocado. Right? And it can look like that. Okay? So you draw inspiration from various things. Can be from nature, can be from man-made objects as well. Okay, so you can design a bottle inspired from the mic. You can take inspiration from probably the texture, the color, the proportions. The bottle need not look like a mic, but you're drawing inspirations from a mic. Okay? All right. So, any questions so far in this methodology? You're all clear? Yeah? Any questions? It's easy to implement? All right? Okay, fine. Right, so as I said, every Thursday we'll be taking you to a design school. Now, make the best use of that opportunity. When you go there, observe what students are doing. Interact with the faculty, talk to them. And most probably when you go to these design schools, you'll be having a small activity, like 45-minute activity. Participate in it enthusiastically. Document all your work. Okay, it's a great opportunity to see the professionals, the students in a learning environment, what they are doing. Because when you go to a design school, that is the kind of environment you'll be getting in. Okay, so utilize those opportunities very well. And yeah, so when we are having this personal interaction, so me and Shaun will be having personal interaction. So when we are having that, please bring your hobby work, not only the DEP work, but also the work that you do in your free time. Could be writing, could be storytelling, could be like comics or videography, photography, whatever it is, whatever creative work that you have, please bring that. Okay, and we would want to understand the views of both the students and the parents. And our job is to identify your hidden talent. You may not know what you're good at, or you may already know, but we'll also bring our perspectives as a professional. Okay, and we'll also discuss the next course of action. All right. So this is like a sample certificate for a graduating student, all right, where we have the work and that we'll be giving you. Okay. Right, so this convocation is planned for 16th June, Sunday, 5 to 7 p.m. So please block your time. Okay, and on that day, we'll also be inviting a professional designer to be part of this meeting, interaction, so that you all get benefited. Okay. And when you have free time, we would want you to watch this series of documentaries. It is called as Abstract by Netflix. It is available on Netflix as well and also on YouTube. So the YouTube, it's done in 2 seasons. Season 1 is open for public. Season 2, you need to have a Netflix account to watch it. Okay, but what happens is they have basically documented the day of a designer of various design disciplines. You can find a footwear designer, an architect, a communication designer, different designers, and their life, and what they have done, and what they're doing. Okay, it's a fantastic documentaries. So please watch whenever you get time. So it's a great source of inspiration for all of you. All right. So after DEP, what happens? So you have done this DEP, you have explored, then what next? So there are two possible scenarios, okay? First scenario is you enjoyed the process, you really want to become a designer, and you're serious about the profession. That is option one. Option two is, okay, this is all fine, let me keep it as a hobby. All right, so anything is fine because you have got the clarity, and whatever decisions you are making an informed decision. That's the advantage the DEP students have, okay? So let us say you're serious about getting into the design profession, then we will help you how to upskill your attitudes, aptitudes, skills, and all of that. And we'll help you in choosing the subjects that you should be taking in 11th and 12th if you have not yet come to 11th standard, okay? And also how to prepare for these entrance exams, design entrance exams. So we have specific programs for each of them. And let us say you want to keep it as a hobby, absolutely fine. If you want to really level up your skill, we can also help you in that direction. So these are certain steps after the DEP program. I understand students are at various levels at this point of time. So there are some grade 7 to grade 10 students here, and those who are going to grade 11 and 12. And there are some students who are thinking of taking a gap year because they missed the exam, whatever, of taking the NID. All right. So if you are between grade 7 to grade 10, you can continue your journey of walking towards becoming a designer through the design sketching, design foundation, digital design, or design projects. All right. So these are done online or offline, and these are primarily done during the weekends, maybe 2 hours in a week, so such that it will not interfere with your academics. That way you can slowly build your aptitudes and the skills. Let us say you're finished 10th and you're going into 11th. We have in fact started a NIOS integrated program, okay, at DQ Labs. So in which case a student need not go to a school and come to DQ Labs. They only come to DQ Labs and they do everything in DQ Labs, right from studying the subjects, the 11th and 12th subjects, okay. So that option is there, which will be a weekday batch. And let us say you're going to a school and you want to prepare for the entrance exams. So we have a exam preparation course or a program which happens primarily on a weekend. And let us say if you're planning to apply for abroad colleges, so we also have got a abroad portfolio program. Okay, so those are the options. And let us say you have already finished 12th and you are just now exploring the design, then we can also help you with thoroughly preparing. So generally the thought process is if the gap year, then I'm losing a year and etc. But for such kind of students, we also have a program where they can earn a certificate and also prepare thoroughly for the exams and give an attempt. Okay, so all these we can discuss in detail depending on your personal situations, probably during the counseling that happens 1:1 with us. So no matter which level you are at in your journey, so we help you right from developing the basics and fundamentals, applying those concepts, going to advanced concepts, and we also test your concepts very thoroughly. In fact, Shaun and I will take it personally with each of the students to ensure that your concept understanding is good. And then we help you to be time bound in your activities, because you may be a great artist, but if you're not able to give what the exam wants in the 3 hours, it's of no use. So it has to be a time bound focus. And we also give exposure and awareness about various design schools that you can choose from in India and abroad. We have rigorous mock tests that will help you to check how you are performing. And we have portfolio classes, interviews. So it's a one-stop solution for all your needs to get into a design career and continue it thoroughly. Okay. Yeah, so one question that comes or quite often is asked to us is which board of which board they should choose, especially in 11th and 12th if you are going, etc. In our experience, IB is the most difficult in terms of they don't have any time to do any other work. They're completely occupied in that. And this is in terms of level of engagement. PU is little better compared to ICSE or CBSE. CBSE is missing here, and IB. And if you want a more relaxed way of studying for your exams and preparing for your entrance exams, because see, most of these exams, except for architecture, they don't look for your board scores. So getting 99.999 is not mandatory. Okay, so even if you get decent scores like 75 plus, like distinction is basic minimum required. Even if you get distinction, that is enough. All right. So the other energy that you have conserved can be used for the design entrance exam preparation. Right. So NIS also gives you a very strong option to do that. Right. And in terms of the subjects, if you're going with the science, okay, go ahead. And if you have an option of choosing painting in science, nothing like it. Why we say that is because, see, as a creative professional, you have to be good in both left brain and right brain, right? And that happens when you have the technical subjects and also the creative ones. So taking painting at 11th and 12th level will be really good if you can, if that option is there. If you're going for arts commerce, then this combination is the suggestible ideal one, if you again have that option, because it kind of balances both your right brain and left brain development. Okay, and they are also practical because as a designer, you have to design products, services, systems that are profitable. You may have a great idea, but if it's not generating revenue, it's of no use, right? And it's not just that you have a great idea, but also how are you communicating it to others so that people buy it. So that's where the mass communication skills are very much required. Okay, fine. So this NIOS plus DQ Labs program, 2-year integrated program, we are starting. This is the first year, and we have some students who are already joined us. We have about 6 students who are already joined, and we are looking at only maximum 10 students. Okay, so a few more seats are there. And this program starts from 7th of May. So the approach that we'll be taking is that, see, no matter which board you take, okay, maybe if you take IB, it is different, but other boards, there is a heavy emphasis on memorizing information, okay, even though that is not an emphasis, that students end up doing that because the kind of pressure they go through the exams and etc., and they have the ambition of getting a high score, right? So, so basically what we are trying to say is, okay, your left brain has grown very well, but the right brain is completely cut off, right? So we are trying to address that problem in this particular integrated program. So we'll be taking a very interesting approach of not only learning, but applying and sharing the knowledge, all right? Anyway, so one last thought I would like to share is, so many parents kind of express when they come to us saying, okay, these guys who make these drawings and etc., do they have a life? I mean, do they have a career, right? So that's a big question many parents have. And parents, they think that, okay, they are basically, it as a hobby is okay, but then they don't think that there's a serious profession that they can get into, right? But what I would like to kind of break the myth is that they are the kind of guys who can sustain really well in the design field, because they have the great ability to communicate their ideas, all right? And in fact, they are very nicely paid in the industry as well. Okay? Yeah, so design is not just about just designing a product or a service, but it is a lot of scope is there. All right, so you can actually change the world by designing policies as well. So if you go back from this meeting thinking with this impression that, okay, designers have a lot of scope, then that is very good. Okay, because many people think that, okay, designer is, okay, somebody who sits there and draws some drawings. It's not the case. Okay. Yeah, so, and in fact, we are on a hunt to find students who basically spoils their hands, books, or walls in their rooms and etc. So if you know anybody, please let us know. We are very much curious to get in touch with them and show them the right direction. All right. Okay. Fine. So, any questions? Yes, ma'am. The schedule, yeah. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. That is 22nd, madam? 26th. All right, so if there is an election day, then we'll have to spill it over. I mean, that day we'll have a holiday, 26th. That's a Friday. So we'll try to adjust that. Okay, so probably we'll have a class on Monday. So we'll look into that. Okay, so 26th is election day. Sure. These are all in-person classes, ma'am. In-person, yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes. Okay.
Is it attached to a board?
Yeah, yeah. NIOS itself is a board recognized by Government of India. All right? Yeah. No, no, it's not under CBSE or anything like that. Yeah. It is like CBSE, but not under it.
Can
Yes,
I
ma'am.
ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
We have taken an online program.
Okay.
I'm just wondering how different are the interactions going to be on that module?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there are certain limitations in terms of the online thing. All right. So depends on the student. I mean, if she's able to grab that nicely, it's fine. If she's comfortable, fine. If not, she can join the offline ones. So, but we have many students who have done online in the past. All right, and their experiences have been good. So that should not be a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the question is about NIOS. I heard this term today. Before that, I wasn't aware about. So how is it widespread, accepted everywhere?
Yeah, yeah. So it's a new term for many parents, but you'll be surprised whichever school she is studying, your daughter or son is studying, might have an NIOS program with them as well. They may not talk about it. I know that DPS has an NIOS program, and many schools have an NIOS program. All right? Yeah. I mean, for Design Hackathon, we partner with Deans to organize the thing. Deans also has NIOS. Yes, yes, they have NIOS. So it is widely accepted all across the world. Okay? Yeah. Huh. So the login details will be given by your respective counselors of the centers. Okay. So there's a little process that they will follow, and the student will get access to that. Okay. Okay. So
one question here. In terms of online and offline classes, so if we've enrolled for an offline class and one particular day if we are unable to attend that class, can that be covered on an online session, or how is that?
What I suggest is whatever class she has missed, we will organize a separate session for her at whichever center that you are doing.
So there is no mixing of online?
No, no mixing of classes. Yeah, no mixing of classes.
No, I'm saying mixing.
No mixing of classes.
Yeah.
So I would not prefer that. All right. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. So I would like to show how this particular portal works. Okay. So once you log in, you can see various modules. So there's deep orientation, apparel design, logo design. So for each of the design discipline, there is a module. Okay. Now let us say click on apparel design. So you would find certain further modules that you can read through. All right. And there are 2 tasks. Okay. So this is where you get all the information about the particular discipline and etc. So students are encouraged to go through, read through it and all of that, but of course there will be discussions in the class as well. All right. So everything that is required is documented. Okay. So similarly, careers in design, famous international designer and brands, So everything is documented with examples such that student gets very good exposure. Okay, and then there are two exercises, all right? So the exercise 1 is to upload your 30 different ideations, okay? And exercise 2 is to upload your final work, okay? So I'll just show you. So you'll get the option of uploading a sketch and rating your work. So once you rate your work, you will be able to see the works of all the other students as well. All right? So it is not just about your cohort of students who are working on it, but also all the previous students who have finished it. So in fact, we have started this 7 years ago, this particular program. Okay, and this platform is like probably 4 years old. So all the student works from the last 4 years you can actually see. And that kind of gives you a tremendous exposure and experience of what people are thinking about, how they are working and etc. Right, so you can see all these different works done by all the students, right? So it's a great opportunity to see what other students are doing. And the interesting part is you can actually click on any of the work, okay, and you can also leave your comments. You can leave your comments on the work, and the student is notified whenever you get commented, and you can also rate the work of the student, right? So this is for the 30 different ideas. And the second exercise will be for uploading your finished work. All right, it basically loads. So you will be accessing each of the modules and try to finish your work by the end of the day. Right? So 30 designs you do in the class. Let's say you have not finished, you're not able to finish it, take it home, finish them, and do your final work and upload. And if you can do it on a daily basis, then your final presentation will be very easy to compile. Okay? Yeah. Right. So these are the works, the final presentations, depending on whatever skill, ability the student has. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Yeah, pen, black pen, paper, and color pencils or sketch pens.
There's something called a pad also written.
Pad is not required because we'll be having tables. So pad is not required. Maybe an envelope to keep all the sheets, A4 sheets, that's all. There are certain exercises where the student might require a mobile phone. There is a photography class, and then there is a stop motion animation class. They have to get a mobile phone, all right? And maybe for certain classes like shelter design, etc., we may ask them to get some like colored sheets and metal scale and etc. We will give the information what is required for them. Okay? Yeah. Any other questions? Any parents have?
This info about school visits.
Yes.
So would all the students gather at their respective center and be picked up from there to the schools?
Yes, yes, yes. So all the students report to their respective centers and at a particular time. So we'll be starting early, right? And the buses will come. They'll pick them up. After the school visit, they'll drop them back at the same location.
And I know this sounds probably not exactly particular, but what if a school visit is missed? How can we compensate for that?
So we do these school visits quite often all through the year. So if you have missed a particular visit, you can do the next time. Okay. But the schools might change. It may not be the same school.
If the topic is the same, then the school wouldn't really matter.
Yeah. So the content is same. Correct. In terms of what you're going and what you're doing.
Correct. I mean,
That's
probably a specific school might cater to a particular aspect of the design, right?
Yes, yes. So there's a
the
fashion
next-
school, there's a design school, there's an architecture
So,
school.
for example, if you missed it on a fashion technology
Yeah.
kind of thing the first time, so she can attend a different school but the same concept.
Yes, yes, yes. yes.
All right, thank you.
Sure, sure, sure. So no more questions? All right. So in that case, I will like to take a role of a teacher and ask you questions. Is it okay? Just kidding. Can you please call Dion? Dion. All right. So any parents here who are in the creative field, either architecture, design, fashion? Yes, sir. You are? So sorry, I can't hear. Please. Oh, UID. UI design. Okay, sorry. So UID is a school, so I thought you were working in a school.
Yes, I'm from UX UI field.
UX UI.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, sure. You also, ma'am? Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. Nice. Very nice to know. And you also, ma'am? From UX. Yeah, I mean, that is one area, there's a lot of opportunity, right? So, yeah, that's great. Okay, Dion?
All right, so this brings us to the end of this orientation session. So hope all of y'all had a nice session. So we started off with the introduction, basic introduction. We went into Shaun's session where he spoke a lot about design, creativity, and how it impacts y'all as individuals. We went into the creative exercise, and then, of course, with Umesh's session, right? So, how did you all find the overall experience of what we've done so far? Yeah? It's good? Do you find it structured? Do you think that it's something beyond what you all initially thought? Yeah? So that's the idea of it, right? So, sometimes it's very difficult to communicate this through a poster or an ad or a poster. These things are very difficult, and that's the reason why we have this session where everyone comes together and we talk about it in a lot more holistic manner. Any students or parents coming from Sarjapur side? All right. Okay. So those who are coming from Sarjapur can probably discuss, we can meet the other side and we can discuss how we can carpool and come from that side, all right, because there are a few more people there. So we can be at that end after this session, yeah? Yeah, but coming back to this, so these things are very difficult to communicate the power of, what we are doing. And that's why we bring everyone together in a common session, and these questions help. What somebody asks would be helpful to somebody else as well. So thank you all for coming. It's been a wonderful session for us, and really looking forward to having a lovely 1 month more in the next, over this duration of this design exploration program. All right? At any point of time, your single point of contact would be, the people you've spoken with to enroll. They would be the primary contact person, and they would probably guide you on to who else you can reach out to during the program. We have excellent faculty who are delivering the program. Yeah, we'd like to call them over.
Yeah, so I would like to introduce our faculty. So, Ms. Priyanka. Hi. So, Ms. Priyanka is an architect, and she has done masters from my favorite school, AAA School of Architecture. There's a best school in the world. Okay, and she has done masters from there. Right? And we have Maria. So Maria is also a designer, and she has done her master's from Domus, Italy. Right? So it's another very famous school. Okay. So we also have Govind and Saurabh. Saurabh? Yeah. So Govind and Saurabh. So these are our art faculties. So who also will be interacting with all the children. Yes, of course. I mean, it's a teamwork. So all the team is worked under Shaun's and my guidance. So we'll be looking into each of the students' works very carefully and personally. All right? Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Right. So as it goes, there are the creative projects that are going to be happening. There's design school visits that are going to be happening. All the kids are going to have a portfolio at the end of it of their work, and a personal session with our design faculty at the end of it to see the potential of your child. And that's the holistic program. And hopefully at the end of it, you all will have a lot of clarity. Like we saw the testimonial from the last year's parents who said that their kids had absolute clarity at the end of it whether they wanted to pursue this in future. Right? So that's the ultimate objective. And thank you all for joining in. Have a lovely day.